time matters here. If you don't know what the you're doing, you're gonna get somebody hurt. And I just realized this is the type of shit I like. Every woman out there can agree that having a man surrounded by women all the time, it's a challenging thing for a woman.
It's so crazy how women will get competitive with a man's mother and their attack is,
you're a mama's boy.
No, I love my mom. My mom is my mom. I would imagine most women, if you see a man who has a great relationship with their mother, you're gonna immediately think he's gonna be an amazing father to our kids and he's gonna be an amazing husband because he appreciates what a woman can do.
The family stays happy because the work doesn't stop. A relationship is constant work. If you honor and value yourself, don't give access to everybody.
What's going on, beautiful world, and welcome to another episode of The Black Sheep Perspective. Today's podcast guest is Lazro Gonzalez. He is a firefighter and paramedic who also balanced a career as a personal trainer and coach before eventually becoming the heart and soul of one of the biggest growing gyms in South Florida, known as Legendary Fitness. Laz is currently full owner and majority owner of 3 Legendary Fitness locations, as well as 1 Legendary Yoga location. Their motto is, fuck average, be legendary, and live legendary. To live legendary is to live above the standard, to have self-love and self-respect, to give back and motivate others, and to lead by example and always trust the hard work you put in. Legendary Fitness is a strength training facility that focuses on a diversified way of training and not just on one way to challenge the body, but instead every way possible. Laz became the sole owner of Legendary Fitness Miami in January of 2020. He and his dedicated staff were in for a ride that no one could have predicted, with one of the worst economic challenges hitting gym owners and business owners all together during the COVID pandemic. Yet these incredibly rough times is what actually helped the business grow to what it is today. Laz is a husband and father of 2. He maintains his primary job as a Miami-Dade firefighter and continues growing his businesses into what is now about to become a franchise. His tenacity and resilience is a true testament to his success. In this awesome podcast, we break down all of the stages he endured in order to get to this level of success and the incredible things he learned along the way. His story is motivational and inspiring. There's so many great takeaways from this episode that you are not going to want to miss a minute of it. And by the way, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, please show support and help the channel by making sure you're subscribed, you hit that like button, and maybe share this with somebody who you think will benefit from it as well. And as always, thank you for all of the support. Let's get into this podcast. Lazro Gonzalez, man, I really appreciate you joining the podcast, my brother. Thank you so much. You were highly recommended by many different friends of mine who happen to know you through different communities, multiple communities. And for that, let me tell the viewers, Laz is not only the father of 2 beautiful children, husband, son, he's also a business owner of Legendary Fitness, which is 4 different locations.
Yeah, we have 3 Legendary Fitness locations, and we have Legendary Pilates.
Pilates, that's come a long way, man. So he's an entrepreneur. He's also a firefighter and has been a firefighter within 3 departments for almost an accumulation of
12 years.
12 years. So hell of a balancing act, even though you say you don't believe in the balancing part. That's a hell of a balancing act. And you went through a lot of shit to make this business become what it is and to become the entrepreneur that you are now, because you're literally not outgrowing anything, but you're taking it to the next level by purchasing properties. You're thinking that you're going to franchise. You're not thinking about it. You're going to franchise. You have the legendary wear, the fitness, the active wear. So there's a lot of things going on. And this is going to be an amazing podcast because I know you're going to help a lot of youth, you know. And by the way, Laz, you were born in Cuba.
I was.
And you came here at the age of 5.
5 years old.
That already is a big backstory, because to do that, come here, have the amazing English that you have, and to be as successful as you have. So I really appreciate you joining the podcast.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everybody who helped get Laz on here. You know, we have Ali, Alessandra, my homegirl Ali. You have Zach from the Firefighter department, Megan, a lot of people, man. A lot of people recommended you. They said that you'd be great to talk to because of the storyline behind everything. So if you can, man, let's walk through that. So you came here at the age of 5.
I came here when I was 5. Obviously, you know, like in Cuba, you win something called the bombo, and that's kind of, from my understanding, is like the Cuban lottery, right? So the Cuban lottery is to come to America, and you know, this is where I strongly believe in God, where it's like my mother wanted, and then just a week later, my dad got it. Because essentially, I would have just come over with my brother and my mom, but my dad got it also. And then we came here, man, and
so it's like a raffle of some sort, a lottery raffle.
It's like a lottery,
really?
Man. If you get picked, you get picked. Obviously, I'm sure there's like a whole application process that goes behind it, and then you come. You know, you're winning the lottery there is to come over here, and that alone just speaks volume of the blessing of being part of this country. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that, you know, do all sorts of things to get here, and that's something that I don't take lightly, that I was able and blessed to come here that way, you know? We came when I was 5. My dad used to drive buses in Cuba. That's how he would make money, and my mom was a lawyer in Cuba. When we got here, obviously the game plan was different, you know, just kind of getting through. My dad was always a hustler. My mom had to quit. She didn't go, she came when they were in their 30s when they got here. She had to quit law school and all that. So she used to clean houses, and I used to clean houses with her. That's how she made her income. My dad used to, I don't know if you remember something called Iron Beer.
Yes, I do. Yes, of course.
I used to drive the trucks for them all over the place, man. So I wouldn't see my dad much, but again, growing up, we just spoke a little bit about it. You understand why he wasn't there all the time. So the primary person that really would take care of me and my brother, take us to the baseball game, school, deal with all the heavy stuff, was my mom. So, but again, I feel like a lot of the character and person that I am today, from how hard I grind and how that willingness to be successful comes from understanding my upbringings, you know, coming from all that, and my dad just hustling to give us a roof and all that really opens up my eyes every single day, you know, and defines. When people used to ask me, hey man, how do you do it? I do it because they did it for me and my younger brother. And one of my dreams has always been to retire my parents, which essentially I can do right now, thank God. I don't do it because I'm also a strong believer that the quicker you stop them from hustling,
you might, you're gonna get them quicker to death or slowing down, or you know.
So I whatever they need from me, man, I'm always there, and they know I'm there, and just alone having that security that they know that whatever they need financially or just me being there, I'm always gonna be there. I think that's a retirement on its own, and them seeing how far I've come. Also, you know, helping my younger brother, me and my younger brother, we have an insurance company together that I'm helping him kind of bring up. He does the sales aspect, I do the finance aspect. That's a whole other side of business that I got into, mainly to give my brother an opportunity for him to get into, because he's a great salesman.
So one of the biggest takeaways that I'm getting right away is you, as a young kid, learned what good work ethic was, because you were able to grind with your mom. You saw what your mom had to, you know, do, take you to these places to help her clean. Your dad's out and about making these runs, doing the truck driving, but you learned what hard work ethic was, and that obviously has helped you in where you're at in life right now as well.
100%. You know, and like I always like to, I don't like to give those, because everybody has a beginning, right? Everybody has their story. I was not a good kid, you know. Unfortunately, school wasn't my thing. I was always into, you know, as a kid, the group you hang with kind of dictates what you're into.
Yeah, you're going to be the average of the people you hang out with the most.
I wasn't with a bad group of kids. It's just we like to do all the bad things, you know, and it's like, it's being a kid, you know what I mean?
Oxymoron, I think, maybe.
Listen, it's when you're a kid, and I think we've all been there, it's like you want to be cool, right? So for some reason, being cool is always doing dumb things.
Of course, yeah.
So obviously, school wasn't my strongest point, and I was able to get my high school diploma, but I did have to do a lot of night school because of everything I went through. But I don't blame my parents for that. I think that was more just God had different plans for me, man, and He was just making me have a tough life. You know, I even got arrested at a young age. I got arrested in middle school trying to protect somebody.
Shit.
You know. And again, that's when I first realized that I had a lot of trust issues with women in particular from a young age, just because the person that betrayed me was my girlfriend at the time. And I just kept looking at that person in the face. And I'm like, damn.
Middle age.
Middle school, man.
Middle school. Yeah, middle age. Middle school, y'all girls are already fucking with us, man. God damn. You see how far this chase lasts? that had a huge impact on them.
I can't blame the girls. I wasn't into the best things. So I essentially put myself in those situations. But you know, I think it built character, man. It also showcased a lot to me as a young kid. A lot of my family talking all sorts of shit about me, that I was gonna be a delinquent when I got older. I was gonna be a nobody. This is what happens when you're a kid, you're not on top of them, and they were giving my parents a hard time. So a lot of family talk mad shit. Family that see me today and they're looking at me like, I forgot that. I don't forget anything, man. You know, I don't hold grudges, but I don't forget anything. You know, for me, it's like, it's one of those things. As a young kid, I got opened up to reality real soon. One, I got taught this is what's gonna happen if you continue. And two, I learned that, you know, family, they beat you down even more sometimes when you're at your worst moments.
Yeah.
You know? Instead of giving my parents some advice on, hey, what can we do? I know it's a tough moment for you. They just kept talking shit about me and I wasn't gonna be anybody, and this is why your kid's a delinquent. Obviously, you know, back in the day, we all wore the oversized white tees with the pants below the butt. You know, it was a different time, man.
Right.
I think that molded who I am today, going through all those trials and tribulations as a young kid. You know?
Speaking of those trials and tribulations, when did you know, because I know you didn't immediately become a business owner, when did you know you wanted to become a firefighter? That was your first, I would imagine, big step, big job, big commitment. When did that hit you, and what was it that made you want to do that?
So it was right after high school. Obviously, a lot of us can relate. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tried Miami-Dade. I went to college. I was trying to do just the business administration thing, what everybody kind of just caters to when they don't know what they want to do.
Yep.
And I remember just going to school, and I just hated every second of it. I didn't want to learn anymore. I would go to class. I would fall asleep. At the time, I was working close to 2 to 3 jobs. That was from 18 years old. I always had 2 to 3 jobs, you know? So I just wanted to help my parents pay bills and just take care of myself and be able to provide to the girl I had at the time, you know? And the other thing, I would always try and date chicks with money because I never had money. So one of those things where as a kid, that's kind of like my mindset. Well, if I don't got money, if she has a nice car and she pays for the things, I can at least start stashing money. Again, not saying it's the right thing to do. It's just my mindset as a kid.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I can't blame myself for thinking like that.
No, me neither. I think that was a cool one. Okay.
So I just kept going, you know, revolving into hanging out with the wrong group, doing things that we shouldn't be doing. And I just remember one day, you know, seeing my mom crying, and I go to her, you know what? I made my decision. I'm going to go to the military. And her exact words were like, I didn't sacrifice coming to this country for you to go and kill yourself in the military. Da, da. Obviously, their thought of the military, there's so many things you can do in the military.
All right.
I wanted to be a Marine. Her immediate thought was I was going to get myself killed. So I have a cousin that worked at City of Miami. He recently retired. And I met with him, and my mom was like, hey, listen, go see your cousin. He works at the City of Miami Fire. Just have a ride along with him. Brother, that changed my life. I did one ride along at Station 1, and just seeing these guys hang out together, work out, cook breakfast together, almost like a family away from a family. I fell in love immediately. It didn't even last, I want to say maybe 3 months. And I had like 5 or 6 grand saved up. And EMT school at the time was $3,000. I tried to apply to Miami-Dade because it was cheaper and all that, but I didn't have the grades. I tested and I didn't get selected. And I didn't want to wait. So back in the day, it was a school called FMTI. Some people might know about it. It closed down. It was owned by Lincoln Schools. And it was like 3 grand. And I just remember I went in. My first day in that class, I had a guy named Gil Navarro. He's a City of Miami guy also. The guy was just high energy, crazy as fuck. I remember him giving me a scenario. I forgot how to do CPR and everything because you have to learn all those things before going in. Gave me a scenario of a drowning, and I was just opening the bags, fumble fucking everything, and he looked at me, he's like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I'm like, sir, I don't know, sir. You know, that's kind of paramilitary. The fire department back in, well, now it's the same thing. I just feel like it's gotten a little softer. But
Right. Yeah, they used to do it paramilitary. Yeah, you're correct. That's right.
It's still paramilitary, but back in the day, I feel it was way more. This was like in 2012. I'm sure people got even worse before me. But long story short, man, going through all that and then him sitting us down and just giving us like one of those like gun-ho, like military, like, you motherfuckers better get your shit together because you're dealing with people's lives here and this and that. This ain't no fucking high school test where you're cheating. Like, time matters here. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're gonna get, excuse my language, but you're gonna get somebody hurt, you know? And I just realized this is the type of shit I like. I like getting put through the mud, man. I like being told, hey, you matter, and your time and your efforts into this matter, and you could change the outcome of somebody's life.
Right.
And I created, I remember from EMT school, I was one of the top guys in my EMT school. I made friends with the instructors there, moved into paramedic school. I met one of my best friends. He's still one of my best friends today. He's a chief now for Pompano Beach Fire. That guy is like in his late 50s. All my mentors are a lot older than me. He used to own property, and he saw in me a lot of potential, and he was really hard on me, but for a benefit. And again, the reason why I'm saying this, I feel like who you choose to mentor you at a young age is crucial. It's not always going to be your dad or your mom.
Right.
And not in a negative way, right?
No, they're busy parenting. They're busy doing stuff, paying the bills, of course.
That or your parents, and I'm going to follow up with this later.
Okay.
Your parents always want what's best for you, right? They in their mind, right? My parents are old school Cuban parents. In their mind, working for the government and getting a good education and just getting a good little salary with a good retirement, that's success. That means I made it. That's my parents' mindset. And they bred that into me for a long time until I broke the script, as how I like to say. But, choosing...
You became the black sheep, baby.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I told you, man. I love that. I love that. I personally feel like I'm the black sheep of my family.
Okay.
And they'll vouch for me. They know I'm big on family, man. I give back to my family as much as I can, and I help them in any way I can. But, going back to the story, I think at a young age, or not even, I think within that 19, 20 range, which is where I really got influenced, it's crucial who you pick to follow, man. Not just in finances, right? Because I think before you get the financial reward, you got to get somebody that's going to build you strong for that financial reward. Because everybody wants money. But I'll tell you right now, if you're not educated in finances, if you're not educated in how to save money, how to manage money, you will blow right through, especially in a city like Miami, where everybody has the flashiest things and everybody wants to be rocking the highest price brands for whatever reason. I feel like if you're not educated in money and you don't control yourself and you don't have a mentor that tells you, hey, invest in assets early. Hey, buy property. Hey, don't be dumb. Don't buy an expensive car. Boom, boom, boom. I got mentored, man. And for a very long time, my first I felt was an expensive car was a Camaro 2SS, and I got that after I got hired by my second department, and I had at least 2 properties under my belt, and I thought that car was expensive. Before that, I was driving a Toyota Tacoma, badass truck, good gas mileage, and I used to drive 2.5 hours away to Lehigh Acres Fire. So in the fire department, we have something called either CR or a Cali day. It's a compensatory day that we're supposed to use as rest, so that we could recover because we work 24-hour shifts, And in their studies, they say that extra day helps us with that sleep. It doesn't. Sleep has destroyed a lot.
Right.
The way I sleep, my testosterone levels, a lot of those things. And imagine, you go from a sleepless night to grinding, it doesn't help, So I used to drive 2.5 hours all the way to Lehigh Acres by Fort Myers every third day with a newborn at home. My girl at the time, she was a stay-at-home mom because she had just had the baby. She was going to school to be a dental hygienist, and I was essentially the provider. I'll go 2.5 hours, I'll get here, then I'll go straight to Orange Theory, coach the whole afternoon till like 11 o'clock at night, spend hopefully one day with my family or work some extra hours in the morning for Orange Theory, and then enjoy the afternoon with my family, and then go the third day again, 2.5 hours, 24 hours away from my family, come back and do it all over. And I did that for like 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that's why I look at my wife and I can only reflect, although I wouldn't say she wasn't supportive of the gym, right? I think every woman out there can agree that having a man surrounded by women all the time, and
of course,
it's a challenging thing for a woman. But I think that now she realizes that we have a point in our lives where we get past this and we mature into the man that we want to be. Sometimes there's a difference between the man that you feel like you want to be, and then the man that you're truly born to be. And that's where the attachment of God came when I started transitioning into, believing more and just seeing my success evolve more the more I believed in God. But to cut back into what I was saying, man, from the beginning, it all started with wanting to join the military and just get away from all the bullshit I was involved. into the fire department, which I have a lot of love. That's why I'm still fireman today. I have a lot of love for the fire department. I think that it's important to give back to the beginnings of who you are today. And, you know, from going military, firefighting, and at the same time, learning how to be a trainer. Because people ask me, hey, man, I know you've owned Legendary for six years. And there used to be a partnership before that. But I owned Legendary for 6 years. But before I became the owner of Legendary, I was a personal trainer since I was 18 years old during all that. At some point, I was either training a client here and there. While I was going through EMT school and all that, I always had 2 or 3 jobs. I tell people all the time, I worked almost every store in Dolphin Mall. There was a moment, why? Because it made sense to me. I would come out of one store, go be a waiter at Rotelli's, and then the next day I would start my mornings at Vitamin World and then finish the nights as a waiter at Rotelli's. And the whole time I was just, you know, this was before my son was born. But during all that time, man, I was going to EMT school part-time, you know? So that's why when I hear kids like, oh, I got to take time off work because I need to go study, I'm like, dude,
right.
I didn't have an option, you know? I had bills to pay. I moved out at 19 years old from my parents' house. I think moving out of your parents' house, as much as we want to stay there and save money, I think it molds you into a man.
Right. It helps you, because you got to feel the pressures of society and what you got to do, and that's going to help you.
And the one that forced me to do that was my current wife, you know? She's like, you got to stop being a mama's boy. That was our argument all the time. You know, mama, you know, every mama's gonna cater to
why women are so against, like, dude, not to get sidetracked, but that's crazy how women, you know, I know you got a great wife and a happy home and all that, but it's so crazy how women will get competitive with a man's mother and their attack is, you're a mama's boy. No, excuse me. No, bitch. I love my mom.
Yeah.
My mom is my mom, and I'm one of her sons. She loves me. I love her. When I'm with her, you know, that's my mama. Like, why are you making it mama's boy? Like I can't get through life without mom fucking cooking me dinner or folding my clothes. Like, it's not that serious. This is just, you know, and I would imagine most women, if you see a man who has a great relationship with their mother, you're going to immediately think, man, he's going to be an amazing father to our kids, and he's going to be an amazing husband because he appreciates what a woman can do, you know? But happily, you guys got past that.
Yeah. No, you know, you got to remember, I come from the Latin side, very family, everybody always being together, big parties together, to my wife, she's French, Lebanese, and Swiss, very different. You know, like her parents lived in Qatar while she was here studying. So her and her sisters lived alone with her brother for a long time. So it's different culture.
Right,
you know?
got it.
And that was my biggest scare at the beginning when I heavily was committed with her. It's, man, how is this gonna work out? Like, her parents can't even communicate or whatever. And like I tell you, man, God works in mysterious ways. I always thought that it was gonna be an issue, and at the end of the day, it wasn't. You know why? Because people say when you marry your partner, you marry their family. And I believe that to a certain extent. I think there's gotta be mutual respect overall when it comes to family. You know, I don't understand how, you know, people don't get along with, like, the parents. I think I've always been the type of person that if I really care for somebody, I gotta win their parents over before I cater to her. Mm-hmm. So my goal was to always be that person that her parents could be like, you know, this is a good guy for my daughter. You know, before I catered to her, I'll make sure to show that respect. And even though I was, you know, a crazy young man and I was all over the place, I always got taught those simple, you know, things like respect, open the door for them, take care of them, pick up their plates. Those are all just things that were instilled in me at a young age, and that boils back to creating a healthy relationship. They see if I'm willing to do that for them, then they know I'm going to be good for their daughter, and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, man, because of her, you know, now we make it a joke, but you know, at the end of the day, I think I needed that. I think I was in this little bubble that my parents created, because I always, if I had a home, my mom would always fix me a plate. I didn't have to worry about food.
It's a certain form of complacency there, yeah. So if you remove that and now you put a little bit more responsibilities on your plate, then it's going to help you become a better person.
And then essentially, now you really see what it is to live with somebody. You know, when you essentially start a relationship, if you're not living with this person, sleeping with this person, looking at all the negatives and positives of this person, then that's the first stage of understanding, okay, I accept this person for what there is, whether they're messy here or they're messy there. Like, you got to work on things together, right? Because you have your ways, I got my ways, but now we got to have our ways together, you know? Now, that's one stage. Then it's when you have your first kid. Mm-hmm. that's when relationships crumble. And mine, unfortunately, it did. We split up for 6 months. And I think that's the best thing that could have happened to us. I think I had a vision, she had a vision, and we grew apart. And when we separated for 6 months, we thought the grass was greener on the other side. I've always been a lover boy, man. So I got in 2 relationships in those 6 months, and you know, it just never felt right. I never felt right bringing a woman around my son. It was just weird for me. And again, not talking to those single fathers and mothers out there doing it. This is just me speaking on my experience. For me, it was just weird, and you know, one thing led to the other, man. And just seeing her here and there, I just felt like I never got rid of that emotion I had to her. And we started dating again after 6 months, and here we are later. We weren't gonna have another kid, and we had our daughter, beautiful. She's 5 years old now, and it's the best thing that could have happened to us, man. That's
are you guys closing the shop down, or?
Yeah.
And, is that her choice or your choice?
Mutual.
Okay.
Listen, I love kids. I love my children, but I also don't. I want to spend as much time as I can with these 2. I can't add a 3rd one to the list.
Right.
The more you add to the list,
you're thin. You stretch thin.
Yeah, and then less time I have for the vision that the generation and the legacy I want to leave behind for them. You know, I think for me 2 is perfect. I know people that have more kids, and more power to them. I don't think there's a wrong. I don't think if you decide to not have kids is the wrong thing. It's a choice thing. You know, for me, I wanted. God blessed me with a 10-year-old boy and a 5-year-old daughter, man. I got the full package, the family 4-pack. So for me and her, we're like, that's it.
I think it's great that you think like that, though, because you have to put some type of logic into the approach. Because even though it's family, and you're like, well, I've always wanted 3 kids or 4 kids, or I'm a kid lover, and if my wife's down, let's have a whole lot of them. Okay, that's thinking passionately with your heart, not logically and strategically. Like, but hold on, baby. What about this dream that you're chasing? What about prioritizing franchising? What about, you're going to start driving two hours away to go here to do this on a daily basis? You have to strategize, and one has to outweigh the other. So kudos to both of you guys for making that decision the way you have,
My brother, and like I tell people, like, you said it earlier, you got the happy family at home. Listen, the family stays happy because the work doesn't stop. I think a relationship, there's no such thing as, a Disney ending to a fairy tale. Like, a relationship is constant work. Like I told you earlier today, I came in here and we just had like a little argument, business related. Has nothing to do with our children. It was business related, but I think the biggest thing between me and her is we've worked so hard on communication that if I feel like I screwed up, I'm like, you know what? Let me give her a call real quick. And some point she might be like, dude, you're so bipolar. And I'm like, no, it's just.
I realized I fucked up. Yeah.
I realized right away.
Yeah. There you go.
And I don't want the day to continue like this. I don't want us to trigger down.
God, what a great example of you using that, because unfortunately, and that sounds like I'm attacking women, but, women think too emotionally. And so for them to think, like, I know it's a small example of what you said, like, babe, you're so bipolar. But like, you're fucking calling me now half an hour after we argued and da-da-da. And it's like, no, you're not being bipolar. Logic kicked in.
Yeah.
Accountability kicked in, and you realize, damn, I could have went about that differently. The business last came out versus the husband last came out. And even though maybe I feel like I wasn't in the wrong, it could have went differently. Let me call my wife and make sure that, everything's good. So that's good on you, Laz. That's good on you.
And like I told you, man, I think it's communication, is understanding that communication aspect of things. If you don't communicate frequently enough, it's like I used to tell her, I'm like, I need you to commit to me at least one time out of the month, just one time, just you and I. And she's like, oh no, that's a little hard. I'm like, we need to. It will save our relationship, and it will help us build into the decades to come, because every 5 years, your goals might be different than my goals. And what does that mean? If we're not communicating what your goals and your visions are, and I just continue grinding on what we initially agreed, then guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just disregard anything you have or any goals you have right now, and I'm gonna be going that way. And that could essentially be away from anything that we might have together. And that's usually when you run into issues and people feel like they've grown apart. That constant communication is a reinforcement of the relationship.
Perfectly said. Sorry for the interruption, guys. But here's your friendly reminder. If you really want to show love and you're really digging this podcast as well as the other ones that I produce, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, push that like, and why don't you share this with a friend or family member? Appreciate all the support, and let's get back to the podcast. All right, lads. So, here you are, you're in the fire department, brother. You're kicking ass, you're doing all this good stuff. You told everybody why you got so attracted to it, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the whole aspect of helping people. You're like you're, I don't know if it was your lieutenant, but your instructor, when he said, y'all need to get your head out your ass because people's lives depend on this. Every decision you make is someone's life that you can change. So how did all that transfer into eventually gym ownership? Because that's when I first heard about you, by the way. It was from one of your firefighter brothers. It was Zach. Shout out to Zach. He spoke about you. He said, Wes, I think that he'll be he owns a gym. And at the time, I think he only had one or two, maybe one. Yeah. So let's walk through that, brother. Like, how did that come about? What turned you into the entrepreneur portion of it? Because I know, so just to recite it again, as you're working 24 on, 48 off, that's the typical firefighter schedule, you're still doing personal training, the Henquando, however it is, for the little extra money. And then somewhere there, this came about. Walk us through that.
So, everything ties into, from the beginning. So like I told you, I got into the gym, like started working out when I was 16 years old. I don't even remember a gym called Porky's gym. Of course, dude,
staple.
That gym made me. Just seeing the bodybuilders and the old school bodybuilders, the rules back in the day, re-rack your weight, all that stuff instills discipline in a kid, And I would always say, man, one day I want to own my own gym. Obviously everybody leans towards owning a bodybuilding gym, especially if that's what you're molded into learning and growing with. But when I got hired with Orange Theory, the owner of Orange Theory actually is one of my really good friends. Even to this day, she was one of my mentors. And during the process of me trying to become a fireman and everything, I used to work for her, and they pay pretty good there, man. So I was a young kid making decent money part-time. I was still pursuing the firefighter route. One of the guys that was there, he mentored me as well. He was a firefighter already for my dream department, which was Miami-Dade. And I was just trying to get hired, So between him mentoring me and keeping me motivated, like, hey, man, you're a stud. One day it's going to come. Just keep grinding, whatever. And her teaching me, because I was very analytical. I was never a pocket watcher. I was always more of a person to be like, hey, I just, you're telling us that we're breaking records here. I got your 900 members. I see the classes packed. Just out of curiosity, because I just want to, like, how much are we at monthly,
right.
And we developed that type of relationship that she kind of shared those types of things. That's not something that just a new guy. And this is the problem with this generation. They'll ask you some crazy questions like that. It's like, dude, you've been working with me for like a month. What type of fucking question is that? You know what I mean? This is something that I've been with her for years. I think I was with her 4 years total. And when she told me the number, it was way under what I thought she was making a month. I thought way under than what she told me.
What she was making, right?
Yeah, she was making almost double what I thought she was making. And she said it very like, listen, Laz, you could do this too, man. She was just an investor. She wasn't like a coach or anything like that. She invested into it early, invested in the right time. And she had studs in there, man. Me and my boy and a couple of the other trainers, we were killing it. We used to work out of the Doral location. We were one of her top studio, and we had studio pride. Like, we wanted to be the best, and that was always our mindset. I want to be the best. I want to be the best. And the guy that mentored me that was already working for Miami-Dade, that guy was already making close to $200,000 a year. So he was doing that part-time. He was just enjoying it. He created a good relationship with her as well. So just molding this young guy, right, that I used to want to open up a gym thinking, again, I'm fast forwarding the story because there's way more that happened.
Of course,
right?
Okay.
From becoming a personal trainer and making almost no money, just trying to get clients in, offering free sessions, to getting a little bit of a clientele, to going into the group fitness world where, to me, Orange Theory is the grandfather of boutique gyms, right? Once they started and they blew up, then you started getting all these other gyms popping.
That's right, yeah.
But learning that side of how you can get a class, I call Legendary organized chaos. Why? Because if one person fucks up on a class of 45, 50 people, it throws everything off. And it's more work on the coach. So the coach has to be very precise in their instructions, very precise in how they're going to rotate and everything like that. If not, the chaos goes crazy, So learning the structure of how Orange Theory worked, studying how that met, and then listening to member feedback, which the majority of the member feedback was, Laz, I'm losing weight, but I'm too flabby. I want that sharp, that hard. I want my skin to be stuck to the muscle, not loose. Getting that feedback and consistently talking to her and letting her know, hey, listen, there's the feedback. And she's like, Laz, this is what we do. This is the type of concept. I can't change it, because she wasn't the owner of Orange Theory. She was just a franchise owner, So we tried doing our own thing. We got ratted out, So once she got hit with a fine, she cut it out. And then little by little, man, people stopped enjoying the classes because you pretty much had to do, I wasn't allowed to be Laz the trainer. I had to follow this certain curriculum.
The orange scary curriculum, yeah.
That to me, I was like, yo, I didn't like it anymore. If I can't put my twist into this, then I didn't want to do it. And then at the time, I had just gotten back with my girl. And she told me, hey, if we're going to have a second kid, then you got to stop the fitness stuff, and just focus on the fire. I ended up stopping the fitness. I kid you not. I probably stopped for like 3 months and I was going crazy. On my days off, I have 2 days off, man. I was with Pompano at that time and I had that extra day off that they give you. In Lehigh, I didn't, but in Pompano, I did. Now my drive went from 2.5 to, I think it was a 60-minute drive or 45 minutes, depending on traffic. I would tell her, I'm like, I can't. I'm going crazy. I remember this. We went to Costa Rica. I had a meeting with the old owner of Legendary. It used to be a CrossFit. I'm not going to mention names, but he used to run it back then. He had his own clientele. Somebody that I used to work with at Orange Tree introduced me to him. Hey, man, this guy's a solid guy. He's just, he's a mechanic and he wants to get out of that world and he's trying to sell the business. I think he wanted like 30 grand for the whole gym. I remember sitting down with my girl before our Costa Rica trip and I'm like, the day I die, I've always seen this before because I listened to a lot of motivational things. Throughout my entire process, what kept me going was putting on YouTube motivational success, these types of videos that just molds the mind into never giving up. And I go to her. I heard this in one of those videos. I'm like, the day I die, I don't want the ghosts of my potential standing around and I see once I'm dead what I could have been.
Right.
I prefer to give it everything I got, spend all my money, pour all my money into me and see what happens than not doing it because I'm scared to lose the money and then, not being able to see what it could have been. So she's like, at that time, she was like, babe, I see you miserable. You know what? If what you want to do is you want to partner up with this guy in the gym, then do it, put your savings into it, and then I'll support you where I can, So when I came in, I go to the guy, I'm like, yo, I can't afford the 30 grand. All I got in the bank account is 15, bro. If you take it, one thing I can promise you, you don't got to worry about me. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grind every single day till we get where we need to be. And then, we make a choice from there if you want to stay or you want to leave.
And what time frame was this? 2019 or
This
18?
was 2019.
2019.
2019. Okay. The only thing I knew at the time about business is how to open up an LLC. So I told him, look, the only thing is I want to open up a separate LLC with you and I don't want any ties to your old LLC, whatever. Thank God I did that, by the way. Fast forwarding that from 2019, still within that same year, I remember it was like 6-7 months into it. We went from a 90-member gym to like 150 members. And I go to this guy. I wasn't getting paid $1. I go to this guy. I'm like, dude, when are you going to give me access to the bank accounts? When am I going to see what we're doing? He's like, yo, don't worry about that. We just got to go one day to Chase and we'll make it happen. He was always very nonchalant about it. I'm like, Then I see he books an Italy trip with his girl. They're going to get married and all this. I'm like, yo, you're a mechanic.
Italy.
And we're not making any money here. How are you booking a trip to Italy? So I look deeper into it, whatever. I'm like, yo, I need access to those bank accounts. I get access to the bank accounts finally. And this was a week before the big thing I'm going to say right now happened. I start looking through and I see his car payments going through there, a portion of his mortgage, a bunch of personal items are being paid through the gym. And he's telling me, I'm not even getting paid $1. He's telling me that we ain't making enough money to get paid to pay ourselves. And I remember we didn't even have mirrors. And I go to
these people, man, when they do the slimy shit, fuck.
I go to him like, my brother, we need some mirrors in here. It's $1,200. I'm going to pay it out of pocket because one of the biggest things for me is marketing. People taking pictures of themselves, getting the gym in the back, whatever. I paid out of my pocket $1,200 to get mirrors on there. He didn't even assist me with that. And then, long story short, man, we get kicked out of there because a big medical center came in, took the whole bottom floor. He didn't let me know about that. He just negotiated moving to the second floor, this and that. And he painted a big picture for me. I'm like, dude, a gym in the second floor with a medical center at the bottom, it's going to be an issue. Like, this is going to make a lot of noise. It's like, no, man, the guy's going to pay for all the build out. Trust me, let's do this. He just signs on the dotted line, doesn't read. My brother, if you read that contract, it favored the landlord over us. They could pretty much do what they did, and that's kick us out whenever they wanted to. So we ended up moving. I remember finishing moving, and I come from a bad day at shift, just didn't sleep, Pompano, come home, and I get woken up from my nap from an investor. The investor goes, "Hey man, I heard you're this guy's new partner. Listen, I have my lawyer. I'm gonna sue you guys. You guys owe me 80 grand, and he hasn't answered my phone calls." Bro, just went down the rabbit hole, and I'm just here exhausted after already figuring out that this guy was stealing before.
Fuck.
I'm like, what? I immediately book a coffee date with this lady. I literally just poured myself to her. I'm like, look, I'm a fireman here. I'm a dad. I'm just grinding. I'm just trying to make it. Like, I will make sure this guy pays you back. I didn't even know about this. Give me an opportunity. Through her, I find out that he's finagled a couple partners before then on Legendary. So again, that's why I told you, thank God I opened up a separate LLC, because he had other LLCs with other people. Yeah. He had promised a kid, bro. He made this kid work for $1,000 a month for almost 3 years. That was his best coach. And he always told him the gym never made money. When he showed me the numbers, the gym was producing about 250 grand a year. And that was back then. That's what sold me initially. But I didn't know that he had fired that kid. Him and that kid, I got into an issue. And that was the guy who was making the money. Once that kid left, that's why he was trying to sell it. It went downhill. Then here I come, he shows me the numbers of last year. I'm like, oh, it's going to be awesome. In June, I come in.
And you didn't realize the kid was the one who generated that. And now he's on the picture.
Until the kid finally, had hit me up on IG. I'm like, hey, man, my name's so-and-so, And then he gave me his story, and I'm like, bro, the investor, this kid, it's all making sense.
What is it about you that doesn't make you want to put that guy out there? Because, I've had this argument with my friends. I can be very vengeful. And I would find it in my self-appointed duty, some old Batman shit, where I'm going to be like, nah, I got to tell the world about this motherfucker before he goes and does this to another kid or to another lass. Why aren't you, I obviously there might be legal reasons, defamation of character, slander, whatever. Maybe that's what it is, and I'm just not thinking out the box right now, but fuck that guy, dude. I would put his ass on blast, bro.
Listen, man.
Better on you, though. I'm just talking out loud. I'm frustrated hearing about him.
I'm going to tell you right now, the membership knows who this guy is.
Okay.
And one thing about me is, as much as I felt like that, and I felt betrayed, and I always just reverted back to God. I went into that room that day, and I closed the door behind me, and I had already worked this out with the investor at the time. I'm like, hey, if you want me to get you your money back, I need you to help me get this kid out. You're going to put into that he owes you X amount of money. He has to sell the gym over to me. And he's going to sign, I'm going to sign, and she's going to sign. Once we knocked all that out, bro, I gave him an option. I'm like, either you sign this document, all right, and I'm going to take over all the debt, everything. I got it into some debt for equipment too. I'm going to take over all the debt. I think in total we're like $110,000 in debt. This was before COVID hit, by the way. I'm going to take over the debt, and you just walk away free and clear, man. I don't want to hear, you cannot badmouth this gym. You cannot talk about this gym. You walk out of here with your mouth closed, and you continue to be a mechanic and do whatever you want to do. If you don't accept that offer, all I want is the $15,000 I gave you for this place. I don't even want the extra money that I accumulated on membership. I just want my money back, and I'm going to close this door, and I'm going to leave. What do you think he took?
Yeah, the easier route.
He took me taking all the debt and walking out. He wanted to be out anyway. So I gave him an irresistible opportunity where it's like, dude, you walk out, you don't got to worry about anything with this gym. He signs, he leaves, and going back to your thing, man, it's not going to make me a better man.
You're right.
Talking bad about another man. I don't know what he was going through on the time. I don't know what was going through his head. Maybe he saw another kid, right? Like the first kid he screwed over. Man, this guy's building this back up to where he used to be. Money changes people, man. It blinds people also. So me beating this guy down more when he sees me today and he already knows he fucked up, that's enough revenge for me.
Good on
him
you.
Seeing the 3 legendary, soon to be 4, the Pilates studio, the ecosystem, because it's not just Legendary Fitness, Legendary Box, Legendary Labs, Legendary Fit Clothing. Everything I've built around the name Legendary, the only thing good that guy did was turn over the name. That's the only thing. Before my gym was called Icon Fitness, so it was always revolving around some form of an iconic figure. A legend is the standard. Legendary is the standard. Icon, they should be held to a standard. So I always revolved around that type of image. So, I rebranded the LF with the stars. I brought that. It used to be something different. And then essentially, man, once I learned that, I started getting all my ducks in a row. I trusted somebody, and God showed me again, yo, do your homework. You can't trust people. Now, nobody in this world is going to show you a pretty picture and this and that and just give you something. Like there's always something behind, you know? So now I do my homework, you know, and I thank God that happened to me, man. To be honest, I'm glad this guy screwed me over. I'm glad he gave me such a hard time. And then COVID hit to put the cherry on top. So this guy thought he got out at the right moment. Because as soon as he signed that contract, a couple months later, 2020 hits, we get smashed with COVID. Had to close my doors. And this is where character is built. This is where the real Mr. Legendary was born. You know, and I always say Mr. Legendary because people know me as Mr. Legendary, but Mr. Legendary is the leadership name. Mr. Legendary is an accumulation of people that stood up for me and my vision. When I look back, I didn't have family standing behind me. I didn't have people. I was just a problem solver the whole time. So all I had was the handful of people at that moment. And these people decided, man, when COVID hit and we cut our doors, I was always very transparent with my team. I'm like, hey, things are hard. You know, essentially, we might not be able to survive this. A lot of gyms closed down. It wasn't a, you know, I tried to do the SBA loans and all that. I got approved for like a little bit of money, nothing crazy. But if it wasn't for these people coming up to me and saying, yo, Les, we're going to do this, man. We're going to grind together. We don't want to get paid. We just want to save the brand. And just standing up, which, again, bro, you know, that gives me goosebumps because it takes character to not get paid anything. This is your full-time job. Not get paid anything and just show up every day just for a hope that we get to survive this. And when I saw that, I'm like, if they're not quitting, I'm not quitting. I worked overtime in the fire department. I made sure I made enough money to cover the rent and not even owe the landlord any money. I didn't want him to be like, yo, as soon as COVID is over, I'm going to kick this guy out because he didn't pay rent like a lot of people didn't do. Right. Listen, and not knocking those people, it was a hard moment, bro. We had to rent gym equipment. I just told people, look, just keep your membership active and I'll give you gym equipment. We're going to do lives Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You know, help us out. And I was just not begging, you know, I'm not a beggar, but I was just telling him, look, I'm going to do this for you. All I want is, I don't even want extra money. I just want you to keep your membership active. And a lot of members did, man, you know, and thanks to those members, which some of them are still with me today, you know, they showed me what family really is. These were strangers that maybe knew me for a year, right? Because they met me through the beginning of when I took over. Coaches that maybe knew me 6 months deep that said, we're going to grind with you. People that have known me less time than my own family. And they stayed, man, and they pushed. And now they're like my brothers and sisters, you know? Nobody could badmouth any one of those people because they're my family, you know? And then once COVID passed, bro.
On and popping.
It was like God said.
What made you think or know, because you have the confidence, you exuberate confidence, and that's a great thing. Some might not take it like that, but that's the weaker people. But what gave you the confidence to think that your gym was going to be any different from the fucking shitloads of gyms that were out before, during, and after COVID? What made you think? What did you apply? What was it? Because you mentioned Orange Theory and you saw that their method worked to a great extent, but has its limitations because people were losing muscle. People were losing weight too fast and they had the stretchy skin and they weren't lifting heavy enough, or it was not individualized enough, you know? So you saw a loophole there. You're a very fit dude. You've had your experience in different ways of fitness world. What made you think that your gym was going to be different? What was that approach like?
My brother, it's not what I thought, is what I knew.
Okay.
When I saw that these people, what they were willing to do to make this work, I decided to invest everything into my team. I gave raises where I could. I took care of them where I could. I'm like, you guys work for free. Now I'm going to make sure you're rewarded for that. So, you know, when I tell people, because I always get asked, what's the secret, right? Miami's heavily saturated, gyms everywhere. I mean, Miami has everything of a lot of it. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you know, you got everything everywhere.
Yep. What
separates my gym and still to this day continues to separate Legendary Fitness from everybody else is always going to be the people. And we've become so strong as a family that that's migrated into the membership. Even the membership is part of the community. The way these members talk, the way they move, it's all Legendary. Legendary doesn't stop once they finish their workout. They take this into a lifestyle, and I preach it every day. I live it every day as a father. I started the Little Legends program with my Little Legends team now that they're doing well. You know, we don't have a crazy amount of kids, but it's not about having a lot at the beginning. It's about making it so impactful that people see the benefit, and then the parents of that kid talks to the parents of the other kid, and then I have one of the best referral programs ever. And that was said by one of my buddies that's a coder that commits his whole life into marketing. When he saw my referral program and the conversion rate that I was converting on those organic referrals, he was like, dude, you're like at 80%, bro. That's unheard of.
Wow.
And I don't say that to brag. I say I say that to explain to you, my gym is no different than any other gym. What changes is the people that run it and the standard we uphold. I'm big on excellent customer service. I'm big on being as affordable as I can be. Because that's the other side of business, man. I got to be able to manage overhead that continues to go up and maintain some form of affordability, because that's one of my core values. I want to make good quality training affordable to everybody. Now, sometimes you got to increase prices. If not, you can't run a business. You want good coaches, they want good pay. If not, you got to stay with mediocre coach. And I'm not willing to sacrifice the standard of a great coach, a great employee, just because I want to go cheaper. Absolutely not. And people that compromise on that are usually the people that lose in business. Because if you're investing more in the fancy equipment over the people that are going to run that equipment, I can get one person and pay him well to run three dumbbell or work, then spend all this money on machinery that's high tech and does all these things, but get that one person that doesn't even know how to maximize the potential of that machine.
Right.
And if you look at Legendary back in the day to Legendary today, my brother, you'll be in shock. Our cable machines, they used to be anchored to a pull-up bar and the wall at the bottom. And it had like a little pick that you would put the weight in, and it was just like free weight cable machines, to the $5,000 cable machines we have now. So if anybody ever wants to get in any form of business, don't go for the fancy equipment. Don't go for the lavish look. Build your business from the bottom up. Invest in good people. Invest in good employee. Make sure they're well taken care of, because they're going to come back and they're going to give you tenfold. If you're just trying to make your gym look good, but the product is garbage, the service is garbage, the customer service is garbage, then what's a $5,000-$10,000 cable machine or squat rack going to do when there's nobody walking through that door?
That's right. Yeah, that's
so
right.
That's what separates me from everybody else, and continues to do. I say it all the time. Every time I give my team a pep talk, whether it's at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, we have this thing that we do an end of the year workout as a team. Everybody in there grinding together, and we close out the year. It's the final workout, and we do it all as a team. I always tell them, this is a championship. It doesn't matter if you're the best player on the team, getting all the spotlight. You're not going to be the best player if everybody else in that team doesn't play their position optimally to that standard. Because if you start lacking here and this guy doesn't cover you when you're trying to make the shot, and this person and everybody just comes at you, then guess what? There's faulty areas in your team that you're not even going to get to the championship season.
The chain is only as strong as the weakest link.
So for me, I've always invested in my team. I like long-term relationships. When I hire somebody or I bring somebody to a team, my first words to them is, I want this to be long-term. Meaning, what I'm trying to say with that when I talk to that person is, I want you to look at me, and I want to see what I could assist you in being the best in this company. And I tell my whole team, I'm like, hey, you train everybody to be the best. Don't be scared of their potential, because trust me, I know where the training's coming from. You make them to be better than you. And I train my team not to be threatened by that, but to be inspired by that, to get everybody from the person that works the front desk to the coach to an inspiring trainer. Man, teach them everything. Give them all the tools so that if they fail, we have a way to kind of gauge how we can help them. But if they continue to fail, now we know that it's not our training. It's not our investment into that person. It's just the person doesn't want to grow. They don't want to get out of that shell. And that's unfortunate when I have to pull the plug, But my structure is built on a constructive criticism building type of structure. Like if you mess up a couple times, we're understanding, but we're gonna make sure that you understand it's still serious, And we try and build a constructive way to get you to where you need to be. Now, if you continue to fail at the same thing, then that's a you problem. That's not a team problem, And then essentially, man, the best thing you can do in a business is just continue to invest in your team, more in your team, take care of them. If they're making you a good amount of money and you start investing, like, how are you going to flaunt buying property? How are you going to flaunt, building assets and all these things? And then you got
they do shit for them. They're struggling.
People out here making nothing, You know, like for me, before I do an investment on myself, they get taken care of. Right now, we finally were able to align things where we can even talk about for my managers and my head coaches and regional managers about bonuses and things like that. And I tell them, if everybody plays their position, there's going to be extra money. But if we have a way of detecting who is the weakest link, if we have a way of detecting why the numbers are not where they need to be, then in that way, we can structure a plan to put into place to get that person to be up to par. Because again, if you have a championship team, but not everybody's playing their position optimally, then what tends to happen is you're never going to win a championship, even if you have the best guy playing the hardest.
Sorry for the interruption, ladies and gentlemen, but if you're really liking this podcast, as well as the others prior to it, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, push that like, and go ahead and share this with some friends and family. Thank you for all the support. And let's get back to the podcast. On that note, lads, you know, you mentioned to me when we first met and we had a sit down that you've gotten to the point because, you know, first of all, I think everything you just said was just so important. Like, you know, me and my mom, we got this thing. We don't do it anymore, but we used to go to all kind of Latin restaurants to see who's got the best food for the best price, best service. You know, all these reconcitos, you know, reconcito here, little Cuban spot there, whatever. And each time it was always the same thing. It was like, listen, the food is, how do you fuck up, you know, huevo revuelto? You know, how do you fuck up a little Cuban breakfast? You don't fuck it up. It's very difficult to fuck up. So really, why are we here? Price, we'll pay the price if the service is good. And it was always there where somebody would fall short, the service. Even if the food was all right, the service, man, that service was awesome. We'll come back over here. A bistec could have been a little bit whatever. La papa could have been a little bit whatever, but that service was awesome. La mesera esa was awesome. Your mind frame goes a long way with what people want to see and hear and feel. And by the way, when I first heard about Legendary, it was crazy because it's kind of like an insult, but it's a compliment. People were saying, man, them motherfuckers like a cult. I'm like, what? Like, no, for real. Like, they're like a cult. Like, they don't fuck with other gyms. They almost got like not beef, but they just, I don't know. They almost think they're too good. Like they just, I was like, but why? How do they think that? They're just working out. What do you mean? It's two separate gyms. No, because they just really stick to themselves. Like it's just a cult. Like I invited girls from Legendary one time to come hang out and they were like, no, we can't do that. But then I see them hang out with their own Legendary people. And I'm like, yo, you got to respect that. That's a dope thing. That means they're so family oriented. That means they really fuck with each other's energy. You know, that's their tribe. Their vibe is their tribe. That's what you built. And one of the big reasons that you've gotten there was when we spoke, you said that you were at the point that you were allowing some of your coaches, I don't want to say this wrong, to buy into the actual business and be part owners of the business moving forward. Let's talk about that. We're in the direction that Legendary is going now, and how you do that for some of your coaches.
Yeah, man. So just really quick to touch base on the whole cult thing. It's not that we're a cult, man. It's we have certain standards, and the problem is a lot of people, especially for some reason in this city, you know, we've all come from very rough beginnings. My core principle of individuals that, you know, thank God, you know, I have maybe one or two of them that are they still got to buy into the business, and I look forward to the day I could say they're a partner. But my core principle of people, man, all these people at some point or the other got approached by a member or somebody else and said, hey, you're one of the best that Laz has. Why continue with Laz and let him make all the money? Let's do our own thing. And that's happened to three of them. The other one so all three of them, two got tried to poached by another gym, and one of them got approached by a member and told that. And when they came to me and they told me what they said back, hey, Laz is my family, you know, and he's my mentor, and I'm with him to the day I die. And when they all came back, and those are my brothers and sisters today, you know, it's not that we're a cult, man. We're just very overprotective, and we've gotten so much hype that it's only natural for us to try and see what people's true intentions are. You know, why do you want me to hang out with you? What are you trying to figure out about me? You know, and that's a normal instinct, especially going through what we've been through. We've almost lost our gym 2 to 3 times. You know, the first time was COVID. Second time was, you know, the rates went up through the roof. So the second place I had to scavenger and find, the guy was using every reason to kick me out. I didn't have enough parking. I didn't have the right permit, point of the story, man, when I relocated to my Kendall location now, it was half the size of what it was. And what a lot of the members said was, oh, Laz is trying to be cheap, so he went smaller. You know, they didn't realize, nah, man, I just finished going through a heavy depressive moment in my life. I have to figure out how I keep paying my team, move an entire gym. I had about 250 grand saved up for a potential second location. I had to pour that into a GC because if not, I was gonna lose my company. And nobody knows that story except those core individuals. And that's why we're very tight and we don't like to just share our time. You know, I tell people something. If you honor and value yourself, don't give access to everybody.
Right.
Be accessible to a limited amount of people, and you're always going to be happy, and you're always going to have that fulfillment of family. But if you're accessible to everybody, then you pretty much, they don't learn to value you, you know. And it's a matter, it's an understanding, and I tell this to my entire team. I love my membership. I love my members like if they're a family man, and brother, I've gone to members' houses when they've had injuries that people don't know about, and I'm not even going to mention. And I've done things as the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the one that's supposed to be not doing all the, and I've done that out of my heart because I do feel for my membership. And whenever they're going through a rough time, I try and do what I can. But I always tell my team this. Whenever you go out with a member, or whenever you go out with any of these, just be careful. Don't get too drunk. Don't do things because at the end of the day, although you may seem like you're just having a good time, they're always watching you. And they're just waiting to see what they could talk about and what they could pick and say, hey, did you see what Laz did there or this person did over there? So for a very long time, you know, my team went through those issues where we would have like a big community event and maybe we drink a little more than we should. And hey, this person's doing that and that, and the gibberish and the talking and all that and the gossiping. So I always tell them, you want to be protective, you want to protect yourself, be careful who you hang out with, don't accept every invitation, and then just try and get to know people's true intentions before you go anywhere with them. And that's going to keep you protected, man. At the end of the day, you know, we went from a gym that nobody cared about, nobody thought, to a gym that a lot of people know Legendary. And I take pride in that, and not in a cult way, but we're not a hype, bro. We're a standard, and we have changed not even hundreds, thousands of lives. We've saved people from depression, anxiety, people that were left, you know, hey, that person's never going to lose weight. You know, people doubt it, and we've changed their mindset. Legendary it's an entire lifestyle, and it's you always believing yourself above all others, because at the end of the day, it's like the airplanes, right? What do they tell you in the airplanes? If the airplane's going down, put the oxygen mask first before you help anybody else.
Right.
Same concept with Legendary, right? I had to get to where I am before I could bring the others up above me, and they understood that. It's not that we're a cult. We're just tight, and we understand the vision. And if your team is aligned like that towards the vision, there's no compromise. Now, if this person's going that way, and then now you're a compromised business, and now you got to see. I use this method all the time in business, and this is a good advice for all the entrepreneurs out there. Every building has structural components. And one of the most important structural components on a multi-high-rise building is going to be the pillars that hold the floors in the building together.
That's right.
Build a team of pillars, not fillers. Fillers is going to be the drywall that rots if it gets full of mold. You know, what's mold? A toxic employee. If you let that toxic employee continue to spread that negative energy in your team, then we're going to have to cut that out. But if it's a pillar, if a pillar decides to leave, now the company's going to suffer a little more. That's structural integrity, you know. I am not scared to build a team of pillars, because I'm going to build them so, you know, well kept that if they leave, it's not something personal. It's probably nothing with me. It's something that they either want to take on something else or whatever.
Right.
But what I'm trying to get at is drywall, you cut it out and you change it the next day. Nobody even knows it was there or what happened. A pillar, people are going to notice, you know. And I think focusing on building assets in the company have saved me from a lot of the hard moments that I've spent in my life with this business, right? Because everybody has always said it. Whenever it goes down, I'm very transparent with my team. Hey, we're grinding it with you, bro, to the end, you know? And that saved me on those occasions where I've almost lost the brand multiple times and things like that, you know? So, yes, I do have a couple. Proudly said, I have Sol. She's my partner in Kendall. I have Gabe and Carlos. They're my partner in Cutler Bay. And then recently I brought my one of my... First was a client, and then became a really close friend, John. He's my partner in Doral. And then, you know, I didn't have to do those partnerships. I wanted to do those partnerships. I saw the investment that these people, even John as a client, he would always give me advice. Always, he's a coder, so he was always trying to find ways to make the app better, make the experience better. You know, he almost, without getting paid $1, would take this brand, like if it was his own, and teach me ways to make it better. And when that happens, you got to compensate these people, man. Not once did he ask me for anything. I'm the one that told them, hey, man, if you want to buy in, this is the price I'll give you. And yeah, 100%, they all got a very cheap price to buy into the company. I would never charge them because I do believe in something called sweat equity.
Right.
And that's them believing in me and the vision and the fact that I'm going to take care of them when we get there, that I took into account when I did. But hey, it's not a little bit of money. These guys put money into this brand, but it's not what their percentage was worth, you know?
Right.
And they know that. They know that. Respectfully, they know that, you know? But they also know, man, that anything that happens moving forward, everybody's eating. Legendary 4, everybody, I'm going to find a way to make everybody eat.
So what are we looking at then? What are we looking at in the future? So right now we have 4 locations, 3 being the gyms, 1 being the Pilates, right? Legendary Pilates. And then we got 3 locations. Is it Doral, Kendall, and Cutler Bay? Okay, so there go your 3. I know that you're talking about futuristically franchising, but you're saying that you want to have things systematically already locked in. I think you're working with AI now, which is what everybody should be doing. Get your AI fucking correct in whatever type of business or approach that you're doing. So what can we expect next? What's on the horizon?
So right now I'm looking at 3 things I'm working on. One, we're trying to test drive this in Doral. We're going to do something called The Den by Legendary Pilates, which is going to be a room, a little more intimate, maybe 10, 12 people, mat Pilates, heated, and see how that does, how that produces. Because if it does well, my ultimate goal for Legendary is to create a headquarters that houses all the different ecosystems and then create a package on the classes where essentially they have access to all of those things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the Den is one of those things we're working on in Doral. We are looking in Broward already. We have a location in mind. I don't want to announce just yet the exact location, but we are heavily studying one spot in particular. We found a location already. We're just negotiating right now pricing. But Broward's going to be our next location just because of the demographics and the amount of people that have asked to go over there already. I also feel like what I'm bringing, and again, it's not cold here or anything, but I take a lot of pride in what we built. I think it's going to change the game over there in Broward. You know, and by the way, to kill this myth, I'm open to collaborating with gyms. When I started, nobody wanted to collaborate. People would say you're a hype. They would like just disregard my messages. But I was that guy in people's DMs. Hey, man, do you mind if we do a collaboration together? I'm trying to get my brand out there. And a lot of people neglected. A lot of people that see me now, and I'm sure the same one saying, you know, hey, look at this guy. He thinks he's this. No, man, I don't think I'm anything, bro.
And I'll tell you what, I will come to your defense right now. And because we had our own little personal thing where when I first asked you about the podcast, you were like in the transitional phase, basically opening up Cutler Bay. I was unaware of that. What the fuck? You're not supposed to spill your beans to me, but it felt like this motherfucker is too busy to come, you know, follow up with me. And I remember I felt a certain way. And then one of my mentors, you know, told me, listen, you can't think like that. He's not brushing you off. The man's, you know, doing his own thing, so on and so forth. Then I spoke to other people, and then that's when they recommended you as a podcast guest. I'm like, well, damn, if several people are, you know, telling me about this dude, he's got to be a good dude. He's got to have some good going on. Let me reach out to him again when the time's right. And I did. And at this point, I actually told you, and you came back and you said the right thing. I was like, hey, man, I don't want to chase you down and make it feel, you know, seem like I got to, you know, ask you to come on the podcast. If you got time, awesome, bro. But if you're too busy or maybe podcasts aren't your thing, then that's cool too, with all due respect, no worries. And you're like, nah, brother, I appreciate you reaching out. And you defended everything. And you said, listen, I've been very busy with so on and so forth. I respect your time. Let's do it. Let's set it up. Once I get back from my trip to Egypt, you know, which you just came back from recently. So you definitely back up your word. You communicated with me. We communicated clearly before we did the podcast, and here we are, bro. So to his defense, you motherfuckers talking shit. You know, you are down to collab, and you are. Doing it, so.
I am, man. And like I told you, actually, when you sent me that, I felt terrible. I'm like, man, I always preach about respecting people's time, and look at this guy here hitting me up. So I did feel terrible, you know, and I made it a point to make sure I got here on time today. I want to make sure that if we did something like what we're doing today, it was going to be, you know, something that you'd be excited about.
For sure.
You could see maybe even the potential of collaborating again in the future, you know. But, you know, like I told you, at the time when we were going through that first time, I was going through a lot of stuff. I'm still going through a lot of stuff, you know, and that's why I told you earlier today, entrepreneurship, anybody can be an entrepreneur for the title. But it takes special individuals to essentially be entrepreneurs, man. There's so much that you have to sacrifice to live your dream on a day-to-day. Is the reward good? Yeah, depending what your goal in life is. You know,
right.
If your goal in life is to make good money and stay busy all the time and have to strategically plan your schedule every single day, entrepreneurship is for you. But if you like to relax on the couch and chill and maybe have a movie night and things like that, entrepreneurship, especially in Miami, is not for you. You're going to get ran through by hungry lions out here that want more out of life. And essentially, I'm not even saying that to discourage people. I'm saying that if you're going to get into this game, go all in.
Right.
There's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. All in. Sleepless nights. Have a clear niche of what you want. I tell people all the time, you want to be a millionaire? Fuck all these ebooks and shit that you're being fed. You want an ebook? Go to ChatGPT. It'll give you everything. Whatever you want. It'll give you whatever you want. 10 times better than an ebook. But what I'm trying to get at is, if you truly want to be an entrepreneur, man, you gotta, listen to podcasts like this one where there's people that I've actually been through, and you're gonna without listening to some of the other ones, you're gonna see a trend in entrepreneurship. They're all gonna say similar things. Sleepless nights.
All right.
It's hard.
Right.
It's not easy. There's sacrificial moments that happen. I sacrificed a lot of my 20s, turning 33 now in May. And I still feel like I'm sacrificing in my 30s, but in a different way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you've given us so much advice, Laz, like hella great advice. What's some of the best advice that you resonate with, that you can recite, that you can think back, like, man, that was some great advice that to this day I still hold it dear, I still practice it, and I still pass it on?
One thing, especially if you wanna live a lifestyle where you're not just, so people get into their own business, and I respect anybody that takes their own business and puts time and effort into it. But people get into their own business expecting instant gratification. You know, also, once you become a product of your business, you're the face of the business. Now the hard part comes in, because now when you want to take trips, people want to, an example for me, people want to take your classes. People want to see Laz there all the time. How can you get you as a product and mold it into other people? So with that, one of the advice I gave, invest heavily into becoming a mentor and mentoring your staff, making sure you set a standard for them and you lead by example. That's one of the things. The other thing, establish foundation. Don't just get into these crazy lease deals. Don't just jump into it because, so-and-so did it and he built a fancy. Build a brand first. Always build a brand first. Get the logo exactly how you want it, the colors how you want it, a description. Give me a storyline. Before I even see your facility, I want to know what the Black Sheep podcast is about. Why am I going to take participation in this? I want to know a little bit. If I don't know you, I only know what your brand story is. Mm-hmm. Once you do that, which is not that expensive, right? Then start creating a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and a 5-year plan. Your 5-year plan is where Legendary is at now. My 1-year plan was just establishing a location where I didn't have to bounce around all the time. My 3-year plan was finding a way to perfect the concept that I had going on and then essentially look into the second location. My 5-year plan is perfecting the system that I have in place so that I can replicate it and then teach whoever I put, because it's like anything, right? This is why I initially didn't want a franchise. I want to hold the quality and standard that I have here.
Right.
In order to do that, I have to have a solid team to train the next generation of Legendary. Legendary 4, Legendary 5, whoever invests in it. And then that's the other thing. I'm not just looking out for my pockets. I love this brand so much that anybody that decides to take a risk on Legendary Fitness, I want to give them a blueprint that is bulletproof, that it's impossible to fail if you follow. I'm not just interested in their money. I'm interested in the legacy that comes with their investment.
Brother, you've been spitting gems, nothing but fire. I love your leadership, bro. I really do. I love where your mind frame's at, and a lot of it stems from the work ethic that your parents taught you, and that goes so far, and if you don't have that or you didn't have that, then you do have to find something. That's been a key component that you have mentioned several times, is finding a mentor, Right now, you ended it with try to mentor somebody, but it starts with finding a mentor and have this person mentor, teach you the ropes, so on and so forth. And I feel like that's what's gotten you as far as you've gotten, brother. And you're doing great. And, you know, congrats to all your success and everything you're doing and all the future endeavors. And anybody out there, remember, the man is willing to collab. Come correctly. Don't come with that bullshit. The man is willing to collab. If you want to possibly work for Laz, for Legendary, maybe even become part of the company, one line that you said that I love, I gotta find a way to use it more, is find pillars, not fillers. You know, so make sure if you're gonna come to Laz and you're gonna be part of somebody's network, that you're a pillar and not just a temporary filler. You know, I think that was really dope of you to say that. How can people find you guys? It's Legendary everything. I was on IG. I'm like, God damn, even Soul, Legendary Fit, Legendary Wear. But that's the brand, baby.
Branding,
That's about how can everybody follow you and then the different gyms and everything else going on?
My brother, me, it's simple, Mr. Legendary Fit. And then the brands, Legendary Fitness Miami, Legendary Fitness Doral, and Legendary Fitness Cutler Bay. And then soon, Legendary Fitness West Pembroke. That's where we're going. I said it. I'm going to end it because West was awesome, man. Hey, I just want to thank you guys. Make sure you guys listen to his stuff. It was amazing having him. Thank you for your hospitality, brother.
I appreciate you, brother, so much, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Guys, go show your support. Go show your love. And make sure you spread nothing but good vibes. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.